There's certain basic facts we need to put on the table. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that master teacher, taught us that Allah, the original man, that original God, was a light of himself. He was a self-luminous man who emitted light from his own being like the lightning bug. You seen the lightning bug? Said that original man was a self-luminous man God. And from his own light, he mattered the sun. The sun derives from his own bodily light. And his light is greater than the sun's. The sun is put up there as a sign for his light. This self-luminous man God of the beginning is at the root of the religions of the world. Western scholars erroneously call him the sun god, but he created the sun, and this bodily light was greater than that of the sun. Here we have Brahma, the luminous, self-luminous man God of India. We have Yahweh or Jehovah, the self-luminous man God of Judaism and biblical tradition. We have Ra or Heru, the self-luminous man God of ancient Egypt. These are not three different gods. They are three different cultural depictions of that one self-luminous man God from the beginning. Do you follow? Next slide, please. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says further that the self-luminous man God, Allah, became black, pitch black, like the black matter that existed before the creation of the world. I have not read or heard the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad explain or describe how the self-luminous man God became the pitch black, or in his words, totally dark God. I have not read that or heard that yet, but the ancient religious texts and traditions are pretty consistent in offering their suggestion. And I qualify it as their suggestion. They suggested that self-luminous man God in the beginning wrapped himself within a black material body made from that original pitch black matter of the universe. Picture, please. The self-luminous man God, that original God that emitted light from his own body, who is so luminous that the sun only signifies a portion of his luminosity. At some point, that self-luminous man God took on a black body. These texts and traditions tell us something further that is very relevant to our discussion here. When the self-luminous man God wrapped his body of pure light in that pitch black material body, the now internal light shined through the hair pores of the black skin. What are hair pores to us today were light pores originally, we are given to understand. Light emanated out of the pores, not hair. And when that white or gold light interacted with that beautiful black skin as it passed through the hair pores, it created this blue glow, this blue iridescence. There was a sign of the interaction of the white light in the black flesh. Do you follow me? And this is why most of the king of the gods in the ancient religions that depicted both as pitch black and as sapphire blue. You follow? When you see the blue body, that's a signal that the light is on. This is important. When you see the blue body of the gods, that's a signal that the light is on and is passing through the hair pores, creating the blue glow. Versus the black god, like Osiris, the dead god. When the light goes out, the blue glow is gone. Do you follow? I'm coming to our point. Next picture, please. I'm going to come back to the blue uniform trimmed in gold and trimmed in white. The official uniform of the resurrected black God. I'm going to come back to the official uniform of the resurrected black God in just 1 minute. Slide, please. It's going to get a little heavy. But this is the capstone of these last 2 weeks. This is the most important part of it all to me. But it's difficult. Science has once again caught up to and proven Muhammad correct. Be real clear. Supreme wisdom, the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is not religious doctrine. It's verifiable fact. A former atheist like me can't do religious doctrine. I just can't. You can, power to you. But I came to this from atheism, and Farrakhan taught me about God and re-engendered in me a love for God by giving me the knowledge of God. And the extent to which I can do religion, I have to do religion like Farrakhan do religion. I don't want none of y'all religion. Ain't none of y'all. I'm sorry, I love all of y'all, but I don't want none of y'all religion. I need Farrakhan religion. If I'm going to do religion, I'm doing religion like Farrakhan do religion. Hey. Say, call me what you call me. This is a verifiable body of knowledge, not religious doctrine. And if you are foggy in your mind about the actuality of this teaching, it's just because you don't know better. That's all. You can know better. It's just because you, with due respect, need to get your intellectual weight up. If you foggy about the actuality of this body of knowledge, that's not an insult. We all need to get our intellectual weight up. And that's where I'm going, because we're going to define what black manhood really is. And if you aren't inspired to get your intellectual weight up, you don't want to be a man, because you don't want to be a god. The science of bio-photonics has proven that the human being is essentially a being of light inhabiting a watery material body. We know that DNA of practically every living organism emits light called bio-photons. Photons light, bio-light. This DNA of practically every living organism emits bio-light. They're so ordered and coherent, it's laser-like. We can photograph now the biophoton emissions, but we can't see it with the naked eye because it's so weak today. In fact, it is scientifically described as ultra weak. And that's the difference between the dead God and the true and living God. The difference between us and Ra or Brahma or Yahweh or Allah, that original man, the difference between him and us is our bio light is ultra weak and his bio light is ultra strong. Ours is a result of the fall of man. One of the signatures of the fall of man is the ultra weakening of our bio light. This bio light, scientists tell us, is the material source of all of our organisms' operations. If the human organism can be described as a chemical orchestra, this bio light is the conductor. Not only is the mind of God in DNA, the mind of God is in your DNA. That is how a single cell can seemingly self-evolve into a complex human form, the most complex and perfect machine in the world. That self-evolution is propelled by divine intelligence in the DNA. And now we know that what science tells us, the power of God is in the DNA as well. What does that mean? Dr. Ernesto Bonillo, neuroscientist from the Venezuelan Institute for Scientific Research, published an important paper in 2008 entitled Evidence About the Power of Intention. What is intention? Intention is will. And the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan describes in the study guide, building the will. Will is the faculty of conscious and deliberate action. The minister teaches us that the will is the divine faculty in humans to separate us from lower creation. God's will is the power by which he created and maintains the universe. You following me? The will of God, the ability to have an intention, to execute that intention and have that intention become flesh. That's the power of God in us. It's a gift, the minister says, a gift from God to us. What we now know scientifically is that human intention is materialized through these bio-photons. Dr. Bonilla notes, intention is defined as directed thought to perform a determined action. Thoughts targeted to, listen closely, thoughts targeted to an end affect inanimate objects and practically all living things from unicellular organisms to human beings. Thoughts directed affect living and inanimate objects. The emission of light particles, bio-photons, seem to be the mechanism through which an intention produces its effect. All living organisms emit a constant current of photons as a means to direct signals from one part of the body to another into the outside world through this bio-light. With intention, we can communicate to organisms outside of us. When the organism is sick, biophotons are stored in the intracellular DNA. When the organism is sick, changes in biophoton emissions are produced. The difference between a healthy cell and a cancer cell, a signature of the difference is in the biophotons. A healthy cell, the biophoton emission is coherent and ordered. That signals the health of the organism. But in cancer cells, the biophotons, the light, is scattered and chaotic. See, chaos is the signature of unhealth. Order is the signature of health in the human body, in the nation, and in society. And that's why we must be soldiers, not just warriors. Got warriors out there, but warriors aren't in an ordered army, an ordered structure. Too many warriors are like the light of cancer cells. They are scrambled and causing problems. The ideal is to be a soldier, not a warrior. You can start a warrior as a warrior, but you got to grow up to be a soldier, because that's the sign. Order is the sign of the health of the organism. He says, direct intention manifests itself as an electric and magnetic energy, producing an ordered flux of photons. Our intentions seem to operate as highly coherent frequencies capable of changing the molecular structure of matter. Our intention, as mediated through this bio-light, has the power to manipulate the structure of matter. The Most Honorable Wesley Muhammad said that God is the power to conceive something in our mind and have the will to make it flesh. That's God. And now we have the science of how intention is made flesh. It's materialized in this bio-light. You follow me? Resurrection. Resurrection is going from ultra weak to ultra strong. Part of the process of the resurrection of the black man that we are calling you to is to get your health right. Is to get your God back. We can assess the difference. We can photograph, we can measure the difference between living gods and dead gods. And God, what distinguishes God from us? His will is always done. Everything he wills, he can execute, because he got those ultra strong bio-photons. And what we want, see, if you are a man is a god, that means a man has strong will. If you a man and your will is weak, you ain't a man, bruh. That's why we have to redefine manhood. Manhood ain't machoism, bro. You got a gun, but you ain't got no integrity. You got knowledge, but you ain't got no character. Nah. You mistake man because you don't know God. This is why you are so hated. To the day you die and to the day he died, you are so hated and feared by the white man. Because no one on earth has the biophoton potential that the black man and woman have. Why? Because of that melanin in our bodies. It is not just, we now know, it is not just a natural suntan or sunscreen that protects our tissue from the damaging effects of ultraviolet rays. It does that, but now science is suggesting that this melanin is also a solar panel. It's a solar panel that absorbs light and converts it to biophotons. You are able to take sunlight and make it bio-light. You are able to draw the power of God from the sun. The white man can't do that, and that's why the black man is God and the white man ain't. The black man is God and the white man ain't. The process of resurrection involves the strengthening of our bio-light, and it can be done. How do we do it? By a radical change in the lifestyle, starting with, slide please. The reason I don't do religion, most people's religion, the way most people do religion, most people, their religion not practical. Right. It got to be practical for me, bro. It got to be mathematical. It has to work, and I have to be able to see the process by which it worked. You invite me to your yoga studio, I better see some people levitating. If your yoga can't produce you can't show that your yoga can produce the purpose of yoga, then why am I going to your studio? Somebody better start levitating, or I'm going to keep going. That's just your brother. That's just how I do my religion. And that's why I'm here in the nation of Islam. Because this is mathematics, and mathematics is this, and it can be, and it is proven in no limit of time. You need only look and listen. Science, in order to strengthen the bio-light emissions, we must literally eat and ingest bio-light. You are what you eat. And that's why the foods we eat must possess the light. It must possess the bio-light. Only living organisms possess or store bio-light. And that's why the cover of How to Eat to Live, 1 and 2, it only has fruit and vegetables on the cover. Unprocessed green leaf foods store bio-light as a result of the photosynthesis process that green plants engage in. So, vegetables, unprocessed, untouched by the white man, have light in it and therefore have life in it. Life begets life and death begets death. Fast food and processed foods has no bio-light in it because it has no life in it. And this is why Satan has deliberately made all black cities, the colonies of America, he has made all of them food deserts. In the food that is in our community. If you examine all of it with the photometer or photo multiplier, how you measure bio-light emission, if you go to every store in the black community and measure the food there, you will see that none of it has light in it. None of it has life in it. It has been done. So life begets life and death begets death, and you are what you eat. And that's why in most black neighborhoods in America, look like a set from The Walking Dead. We look like zombies. We move like zombies. We think like zombies because we eat death and not life. And that's not an accident. It's by design because the death of Satan is you and I getting our bio-light up. Because that's the power of God in us, and we have access to a measure of power that he can never have access to. But you can't go from dead God to living God unless you change your life. Unless we change our eating. Unless we change not just the food intake. See, when we say don't eat pork, we don't say don't eat pork because the pig is evil. No, the pig was made by God. Huh? It served its purpose. Its purpose was never to eat. So if you tell me not to eat something, I don't just want a religious explanation. I want a practical explanation. And you were given a practical explanation of why you shouldn't eat the pig, but you're also given a practical explanation of why you and I need to change most of our life. Most of our diet must be changed unless you want to remain a dead God unmanned by Satan. But if you want to be a man, you're going to have the power of God with you, because to be a man, a black man in white society is a declaration of war. And like I said last week, that's why we got these military uniforms on, but we're going to see this isn't just a military uniform. It's a uniform of black manhood. This is the official uniform of black manhood in America, because it's the official uniform of the resurrected black God. I'm going to get to it in a second. And this is why black boys are targeted by the MMR vaccine. So this is my last, I need the mic. Slide, please.